Systems thinking is probably one of the most critical things you can do as a business owner and founder. Let me explain what I mean. So when you're building your business, there are a lot of challenges. Things take your time. As you improve something, have you ever experienced two things break, or you feel like two things break? Now, what if you could understand what was potentially going to break before it actually broke? That's kind of what system thinking is. It's how every piece of your business is connected and works together. So let's talk about some examples. If I was to have a product and service and I am having a good time at sales, I'm going to expect my delivery to need to handle the additional sales. So I understand that if I make more sales, I'm gonna need to be to deliver more product. Now, what does that impact have on my current team if I don't hire? So if they're already somewhat at capacity and I put on a whole bunch more clients on there, the service is probably going to drop. So I understand that if I make these sales, I'm going to have my service drop by producing for too many clients. But then what's the next piece of the system that might break? Well, the culture of my business might change because my employees are now overworked, they're frustrated, they probably wanna do a good job. And so they're upset that they're not doing a good job. But what else could break? Now, if you think about even further down the chain, well, the clients are not getting the same experience they used to. So if you're charging the same price, but the value doesn't match, you're probably gonna start getting bad reviews. So then what happens next? If you have bad reviews, then your sales start to break. You have less clients in, and if you are having them come in, they're either paying less or they're worse quality clients. That's systems thinking. So my name's Scott Bottleneck. I'm an industrial and systems engineer. I have experimented with systems across hundreds, if not thousands of businesses, working at Eaton Corporation, and I recently created Founder Systems AI to help other business owners think in systems. So how does this help your business? If we talked about all of the negative things about a business, we also want to think about all of the positive. So think about what's happening as you're making changes. Typically, we want to grow and scale our business. So we want to, first off, I focus a lot on finding time for myself to do other parts of the business to actually go into leadership and growth versus operations. So I don't want to be an employee, I want to be a strategic owner. So that is a system in itself, is how do I build more time for myself? How do I build that system? Whether that's just time blocking and setting a specific day for a specific action like YouTube like this, or if that's implementing new team members. But what happens as I implement new team members? So again, you have to view the system. I can't just go hire a good person, which is a system itself. We bring in a new person to delivery. They need training, they need education. So if we just pump a whole bunch of clients on them, the service drops again, and then the review problem, and then the worst clients. So that's the cycle of how every single piece of your business is connected. So what we want to do is think in systems is, okay, so I know that I need to recruit and hire, which again is a whole nother system, but let's just say we found someone, we like them, we're bringing them in. If you don't have a clear training program, then their quality isn't going to be as good. So you need to build out the system to prevent the negative reviews and to prevent them from quitting right away. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll build out literally a training program or standard operating procedures. The simplest way to do this is just use Loom videos and create a simple training program at a very basic level. I teach a more advanced version with standard operating procedures and daily SOPs, but if you can just write down on a spreadsheet all of the tasks that you want them to do. So every single task that you want them to do. So they're in charge of social media, they're in charge of fulfillment for this product. In fulfillment, they have to do these 3 things. This is what delivery looks like. And then you do a little Loom video of each one of those, just explaining what that is. That's gonna give them something to watch their first 2-3 days. And yes, it takes more time. What we're doing is we're thinking in systems, because that time that you just spent, or maybe hopefully another leader in your business spent building out this program, is going to allow them to get started quicker. Now, as part of that, we wanna onboard them slowly. So we want to give them 1 client at a time. So instead of saying, okay, we're at capacity, here's 10 clients, which is something that I run a marketing agency, we used to have to do because we were growing so quickly. But what we found is it wasn't worth the growth because they would quit, their service wasn't as good. So you have to build in this understanding of how everything connects together. So I've connected their training program to a better client experience, to better reviews, to more sales. So that's system thinking. So when we have this person come on, what we do is in week 1, they go through the training program, they do a one-on-one with their manager every single day, and they shadow a specific client. Then week 2, they do less one-on-ones, and then maybe they get assigned their first client with a reverse shadow. So someone from the team who's experienced, maybe it's just their manager or another team member, is also responsible for that client. And then in week 3, we fully hand off one client to that person with weekly check-ins with their supervisor on the work, the progress, the reporting, and the supervisor has more or less a checklist of what needs to be done. They just go through this checklist, and that's typically what I call a daily standard operating procedure. It's just writing down all of the tasks that need to be done and then going through that every single week with that employee to make sure, hey, did we do this? Okay, perfect. Can you show me? Okay, this small tweak needs to be happening. And that's how you start to scale your business through systems and through system thinking. So what we've done is we brought on this new employee, but that new employee has allowed us to grow operations. Or grow sales. So by bringing on this new employee, we are able to fill more service. So instead of having 100 clients, we can now have 120 clients. And then that allows us to sell more. But because we took our time training this employee, their quality is really good and they're able to build a relationship. And maybe our rule is that they only get one new client a month. So they can only bring on one really new client per month. So they have an opportunity to train until they hit their 90 days. And typically that's what we do at my agencies is there's a 90-day probationary period where at 90 days we determine if we're keeping them. So we don't want them to have too many people because if they have more than 3 or 4, it's really hard to fire them because again, that leads to negative reviews. So this 90-day probationary period really allows you to build a system and think about how everything is connected. So if they're successful, and it's allowed them to be more successful because they get to focus more and ask more questions versus just, I have to do this task, I have to do this task. I don't know why anything is connected. I don't understand why I'm doing this task. These are all things that employees are thinking about because everything's new to them. So you give them this opportunity to actually be successful. And that's really, really powerful. But again, understand how that connects. So we're thinking in systems. So I have one new superstar employee who's been trained properly. Now at 6 months, they can take on 10 clients. Those 10 clients are happy. Those 10 clients have longer retention. Those 10 clients have lower churn, meaning people aren't dropping off. I am now getting positive reviews and that employee has a good experience, so a good culture. And so they're feeding positive energy back to my team. Now, I've heard this analogy that business runs off of energy, and I think energy resources is very true. So if you have someone who is happy, they're gonna tell everyone else they're happy. And it's the same thing. I've had situations where employees are unhappy and I've waited too long to either fire them or let them know that it's time for them to move on. And what they do is they drag down the rest of the team. So think about how one upset person then goes and complains to someone else every single day about everything. That builds a system, but then that connects to negative thinking on your team where someone else is like, oh wait, I didn't even really think about that. That's unfair. And then they start doing that to someone else. And all of a sudden you have an entire department that doesn't want to be there for whatever reason, whether it was something you did wrong or not. And so again, how does that connect is they start doing worse at their job because they're less happy. And it's not just one person anymore, it's 2 people, and then it's 3 people. But then their clients start to see less results, which means they're not referring people, they're not leaving positive reviews. Very likely they're telling people to stay away from your business because they haven't had an experience that they've enjoyed because the people they're working with don't want to be there. And so you have to look at how all of this works together. Now, when it comes to starting and scaling, really even 6 and 7 and 8 figure founders sometimes have very small teams. And so it's really hard to figure out where do we invest in first. And to simplify this as a founder, what is taking up the most of your time? Because typically we're the visionaries, we're the leaders, we're the strategists, whether you think it or not, you're the system thinker behind the business. So how do we get you to be able to do what you do best? Do your craft. So I just ended a call with someone and their craft was YouTube. And they're spending a lot of time coaching and doing sales and doing fulfillment and doing all of these things that didn't bring them energy and wasn't truly what they wanted to do, but also wasn't necessarily going to grow the business. It was taking care of their current clients. It was doing all these things that needed to happen, but they were letting it fill this massive time void because they also were not time bound by anything. So what I recommended is they do a time study of their own time, figure out where they're spending time, and then figure out what key thing they can do that's going to actually grow their business. So it's really what is needy, what can I automate, what can I eliminate, what can I delegate? So get that off, and just one thing. What is the biggest thing that you don't want to do or is taking up the most time? And then what is the one biggest thing that you think is going to actually move the business, change the business, or What are you most passionate about and what do you want to do in your business? So as you remove this step first, so you focus on what's taking up so much time, you fix that, and hopefully it's a quick fix, because sometimes it's as simple as hiring a VA from Fiverr. So the person I just talked to, they wanted to set up some automation in their CRM, which could literally just be, hey, write down the automations you want, hire someone from Fiverr, have them do it. Done. That's clear, it's off their desk, and they also have more freedom because they're not manually texting people and reminding people about things and sending these things. They're building their culture through automation. And now time block is, I think that creating YouTube videos for Founder Systems AI is going to be the one leader to bringing in new clients who really want to be there and who want to work with me and who want to scale their business through systems and want to get out of their own way so that they can lead. And that's really what system thinking does. So they time blocked a specific day to do YouTube, and hopefully we'll check back, but hopefully we see that they have started to get their YouTube done. They're happier, their team's happier, they're creating marketing content so they have more leads coming in. Now, system thinking will lead you to what is the new constraint gonna be. So just thinking ahead of time, if I start producing these YouTube videos and I'm really good at YouTube, I'm gonna start getting more leads. So do I want to be responsible for all those sales calls? Because there's gonna be more. And what does that look like? So if the answer is no, I wanna be doing YouTube videos, I need to think, okay, I'm gonna start doing these, but I'm also consciously looking for someone to do sales, and maybe it's commission only sales, and maybe I just use my network on this one because I am a small agency and I want to scale up and I wanna have this personal relationship and I want people that already know what they're doing. So I'm just gonna bring in someone, they're gonna get 10% of sales, and I don't have to do that yet because I haven't made the videos, but I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that system that needs to play. And then by doing that and by having a salesperson, there's two outcomes. One, they're really good at sales, and then fulfillment needs to be taken care of, which is down the road, which we don't have to worry about yet, but we just want to start thinking about what that looks like so you can start making decisions as you're moving versus reactive. So I just know that if I start crushing YouTube, I'm gonna need more salespeople. Those salespeople ideally are gonna bring in new sales, which means I'm gonna need more people in fulfillment, which means either I get pulled back in or I'm thinking ahead and at least designing how I want this to look, whether that's rebuilding the individual process so it relies on less people. So the feedback process is less, maybe it's more videos, maybe it's more coaching calls, which take up less time, or I'm bringing in more coaches. And what does that look like? What does that training program look like? So I hope this helps you understand that everything you do in business is systems. And by fixing one thing, you really can break two things, but it's not really that you broke it. You showed the next weakness in your business, which is the constraint or the bottleneck. So for this specific person, the constraint was that they wanted to do YouTube videos to get more leads to grow their business. That is the first constraint. Once they fix that constraint, they're gonna have their next constraint, which is they can only be on so many sales calls at a time, especially if they wanna keep doing YouTube videos. So they have to fix that constraint. But system thinking is then I fixed this issue, what's the next issue? And then what's the next issue? But by considering that ahead of time, it's not so that you take action, but you're aware that that's where you need to be paying attention, and you start building in feedback loops. So you're looking at, has quality dropped on my sales calls? Especially if I'm bringing in a new person, if I'm distracted by doing too many sales calls, or my YouTube video quality dropping. And that's where you go from having a 6 or 7 figure business into the 8 and above. Now, I've done this at Eaton Corporation, which is, I literally did it at a $250 million facility. I helped them implement systems throughout their business, helping them get specific certifications. And I know it can seem very technical, but it also can be very simple when you break it down to what you're really doing and what step actually matters. So again, I'm gonna leave you with focus on one needy piece of your business that you need to solve today. Then ideally that's freeing your time up to do the next step. And think about, once I solve this, what do I wanna do next? And that's where you can stop. That's system thinking in general. Now, if you really wanna learn how to systemize your business and scale through systems, please check out the Founder Systems AI course and community down below. And I also give away for free a lot of my SOPs and templates to help you systemize your business so you can truly scale and regain your time so you can focus on what you want to focus on. Thank you.